Crystal Palace 1, Tottenham 2. Tottenham take the 3 points away at Selhurst Park and get another victory as Ange Postecoglou continues this incredible beginning of the season run in his first season managing at Tottenham. This is Top the Perch. I am your host, as always, Nick Burt. What a match it was on Friday. Yes, this is quite a delayed video, but I still need to recap what happened. It was always going to be difficult from the start, I felt. Roy Hodgson always gets his men playing. Like, there's no true formula to what he does. He just gets his men ready for a defensive battle and to strike at the opposition at their weakest moment. And, they sure did try. We'll get to the stats eventually. But this was just, it was an ugly game for Spurs, but they still come out on top. It's something that you can't say much of for, other Tottenham matches of the past, I'd say. Those ugly games, Tottenham would find a way to lose, probably. Obviously, we saw on Friday they did find a way to win. It was a Joel Ward own goal that put them up 1-0. It was a Son Heung-min goal that put them up 2-0. And then it was a IU goal in the 92nd minute that got it down to 2-1, but still ended up with the victory there. It was always going to be this way, I felt. This felt like a Sheffield United. This felt like a Brentford, where you're going to struggle. You'll be happy if you come out with a draw. But Tottenham come away with 3 points. At the time, they were 5 points clear at the top. They're only 2 now, but it really doesn't matter. We're only 10 match weeks into a 38 match week season, so it truly doesn't matter. Had some phenomenal performances from some players, some not so great performances from others. We'll get to that in the player ratings. But one thing I do want to mention, because it was very much brought up, Christian Romero is an absolutely outstanding footballer. I just can't believe how good of a player he actually is. We saw on Friday, I'm looking down at my notes, he completed 141 passes in that game. That is the most by a Spurs player on record in a Premier League game since they started counting those stats in the 2003-04 season. He was on target 93% of those passes, so the pass completion rate was 93%. That's just an insane number. He's truly a I hate the word world class, but he is up there. I think he makes his case for that. Yes, he does have some stupid plays sometimes that gets him cards, but it does seem like that's kind of changed in the off season. He kind of looks better now, I guess I would say. At that kind of stuff, he looks incredible out there. He's taken a different form, it seems, under Ange Postecoglou, which is something I truly wouldn't have expected, because I thought he kind of hit his ceiling, I guess I would say, already, even though he is still young. He's still got ways to go, clearly, because he just keeps improving. Given that, we'll take a look at the stats, because some of these are just mind-boggling, I'd say. So Tottenham had 76% of the possession in this game. I think that's one of, if not the highest of the year. The only game I can think that was be close to that is the Sheffield United game. it sure felt like Crystal Palace had the ball more than 24% of the game, but also Tottenham felt like they were in control the whole time. Now, here's the thing here. Like I said, Roy Hodgson plays a very defensive style of football, and his players know that they got to strike when the opposition's at its weakest. This may be, well, no, it's not the first time this year, but at this margin, I think it is. Crystal Palace had 13 shots on goal to Tottenham's 10. I think that's Tottenham's lowest tally of the year, 10 shots period. It's not shots on goal, because that's a different stat that we get to in a minute. For Crystal Palace to put up more shots, I think that says how difficult this game was going to be. Them getting up the more shots kind of proves my point there. Now we get to the shots on goals, shots on target. Once again, Crystal Palace had 3. Tottenham had the 1, which was the goal that Heung-min scored, because own goals don't count as shots on target because it wasn't a shot on target. So Tottenham just have the 1 there. They really did struggle in the attacking game on Friday. That's just how it played out. And there's really nobody to blame but them. There is nobody to blame, actually, because that's just how Crystal Palace played the game. Shots in the box, Crystal Palace had 8 compared to Tottenham's 4. Again, I'm not really surprised by this number, but it is what it is. Shots out of the box, Crystal Palace had 5 compared to Tottenham's 6, so kind of even there. We get to the expected goals. Crystal Palace, as expected, would have the lower one here with 0.61 compared to Tottenham's 1.12. Passes. I just said Christian Romero had, I believe, 141 passes in this game. Overall, Crystal Palace had 220. So that's just what that would be, 81 or something like that pass difference, which is insane that a player almost got as many passes as a team in a game. Again, I think that just goes to show Romero's incredible capability. You compare that 220 to Tottenham's 732. Quite a big number there. Accurate passes, Crystal Palace was at 148, which equaled out to 67% accuracy, compared to Tottenham's 669, which was 91% accuracy, which that number's kind of been staying consistent in that 80 to 95 range, which is incredible to see. Fouls, Crystal Palace had 19 compared to Tottenham's 11. 2 yellow cards for Palace compared to Tottenham's 1. And corners, like I said, Crystal Palace striking when Tottenham's at their weakest, basically. They have 11 corners in this game compared to only Tottenham's 2. So given that, as always, from here we move on to my player ratings. A lot of interesting ratings this week, I'd say, because like I said, that front line didn't have a spectacular performance. Son gets the 8.1, and honestly, it probably got bumped up because he scored that stunning goal, but he just wasn't fully there. Richarlison, he got subbed off. I believe it was like the 62nd minute. He gets a 7.1. He was bordering on like a 6.8 the whole game because he really just couldn't do much. And that's credit to the Crystal Palace back line. Because like I said, Roy Hodgson, he gets his men like in that type of formation for that. And I'm not really surprised by that. That Richarlison scored low here. Madison ends up with an 8.2. You could say both goals don't happen without him, so he probably could have earned man of the match, but I did give it to, as you can see on the graphic, Romero, but we'll get there. But Maddison still had a very good performance. Tottenham don't win this game without him, I don't think. I don't think that's really an argument there. Dejan Kulusevski gets a 7.4. He got subbed off in this game. Like I said, just it was what it was. It wasn't an outstanding performance from him, but like I said, it's because of that Palace back line. They play very defensively, and they play it very well. I do have to give credit there. That is probably one of the best defensive performances I've seen from against a Tottenham team this season. And obviously Tottenham have drawn twice this season, so I think that's saying something. You saw Bissouma come back into this lineup after the red card from the Luton Town game. Earns a 7.6. He ended up getting subbed off. It wasn't a terrible performance, but it wasn't outstanding. I kind of feel like he was subbed off so he didn't get a stupid yellow. With kind of the way this game was playing out, it felt like there was going to be an unnecessary yellow handed out. And with him still sitting on that 4, one more means that 3-game suspension is ever looming, and kind of want him for next week's game against Chelsea. Popsar, I don't actually believe he got subbed off in this game. I think that's a mistake on my part with the graphic, but he earned 7.5. It was kind of the same with Bissouma. They both had good games, but they weren't outstanding games. It's just that's the tax that happens when you play Crystal Palace. A lot of your star players, attacking players, aren't going to have outstanding games, but your back line and your goalkeeper are going to need to have outstanding games to make sure that you come away with the 3 points. And, well, that's not what Ben Davies did. He stepped in for Destiny Udogie, who was out with, I believe, an illness, so it wasn't injury related. He earns a 6.7. He got subbed off at half, replaced with Emerson Royale, who we'll get to. But I kind of feel like that game might have signaled a somewhat end to a Ben Davies starting role in that type of area, I guess I would say, of, stepping in when somebody's injured. But with squad depth, I don't think we can, officially make that official right now. Mickey Van de Ven, he gets an 8.2. Just another outstanding performance from him. He, honestly, Tottenham had 3 signings of the summer in the squad. Their 3 key pieces that they've brought in this summer being Maddison, Van de Ven, and Vicario. All 3 of them, absolutely incredible signings, especially given right now they're looking like steals at the price we got them. He looks so fast out there. He does look like the fastest player on the pitch, and I think he actually is. I haven't actually seen the stats to prove that, but I believe he is. He has to be. It looks like it. Always getting back to that ball. If there's a breakaway, it always seems like he gets back to it, breaks it up. He's an incredible player. I'm really glad we signed him. I still would like to see some depth in that position in the winter window, so the January window. But still, I think he's an amazing starter for us. Christian Romero, as I said, wins player of the match, or man of the match, whatever you want to call it, from me. That 141 passes, absolutely insane. His backline presence, insane. He's such a good player, and if he gets injured, Tottenham are screwed. And I'd say the same thing about Van de Ven. If Van de Ven gets injured, they're screwed. Pedro Porro, he gets a 7.7. It probably could have gone up a little, but he still had a very, very good performance in this game. I really enjoy the role Postecoglou has him playing right now. And then Vicario, he ends up getting an 8.1. He made 2 incredible saves out of the 3 shots that he faced. He's a very, very good player. I don't know why he was slapped on, why we got him for so cheap, because he does seem like a very expensive player, I guess I would say. But he's an incredible player. Incredible. I'm glad that we signed him over our other targets because he looks like he's playing much better than those other targets right now. So looking at the subs, Emerson Royale gets a 7.2. He came on at half for Ben Davies. Emerson Royale played that position perfectly. I know people were worried bringing him in that position, but he played that position perfectly. I really enjoyed him on that left side. If Destiny Udogie wasn't here, I'd want him starting on that side. But Destiny Udogie is here. I'm comfortable with Emerson starting in that role. If Destiny goes down, I'm comfortable with him starting if Porro goes down in that role. I'm not 100% confident if he does, or if he replaces a Van de Ven or Romero. I don't know if he can do that. I know he's been subbed on sometimes and played some center back, but still, So I like the role Emerson is playing right now. I think starts are coming for him. He's just kind of got to wait it out a little, but I really enjoy this role that he played off the bench because he played it perfectly. Højbjerg came on. He earns a 6.4. It's just he's out there. He's really trying hard. It's just sometimes it just seems like he's dulling the game down, which it is probably tactically what Postecoglou is trying to get out of him, which I completely agree with. But sometimes it's just not as entertaining to watch, if you get what I'm saying. Brendan Johnson, he came on, I believe in place of Richarlison. He ends up getting a 7.5. He got the assist on the Sun goal, got a yellow card, but the assist on the Sun goal was absolutely incredible. I don't know if you put him in a starting role right now. I feel like you got to leave Richarlison in, but at some point I feel like you kind of got to say with Richarlison, hey, like we got to start bringing you on as a sub and maybe we can figure this out. But as of now, I don't know if you can do that. But Brendan Johnson, best player off the bench on Friday, in my opinion, with Emerson in a somewhat close second. And then in the 89th/90th minute, we got subs on from Bryant Heel and Rodrigo Bentancur, both players coming off of injuries. Bentancur coming off that ACL injury 9 months ago. Gil suffered a training injury, I believe, in the preseason. He hasn't played since the Europa League final for Sevilla. You couldn't rank him because of the short amount of time they were out there, but I'm really happy to see both of them back, especially Bentancur. Throwing him in that midfield is going to be, oh my gosh, it's going to be so beautiful to watch. I don't know if he gets a start soon. I kind of feel like you still got to kind of ramp him up. You can't just throw him out there for a full 90. Gil, Bryant Heel, I don't think you can do the same either, but both of them, I'm really glad to see back in the squad. I hope Postecoglou gives Gil a chance, even though we brought in Johnson. We have Richarlison. I still would like to see him get a chance because I think he's a really good player. And Bentancur, I think, is going to be back in the midfield when he's 100%. I have a feeling Sarr ends up on the bench, which I feel bad for him because he's been a really standout player for us. But I just don't see him fitting in with Bentancur here. For now, he can be a very good sub, but just as of now. And Postecoglou earns an 8. The only thing I didn't like was Davies starting, and it kind of proved that way. But he made the change at half. He recognized it, made the change at half, and I'm happy with that. So given that, that was the player ratings for this Crystal Palace game on Friday. Match week 10 is in the books. We're on to match week 11, where Tottenham are playing in the week again. They will be playing on Monday afternoon here in America, evening in England. They will be playing Crystal Palace. The Snake, Mauricio Pochettino, returns back to North London. That's going to be something to watch. That's going to be something. That's really going to be something. So that's going to be it for this recap of Crystal Palace Tottenham. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you stumble across it, hit like, hit subscribe, tell anybody you know about it. We'll be back on Monday for a recap of that Chelsea game when the Snake comes to town. And hopefully we will see you then.